Hi everybody and welcome to Mike's Hidden Histories. I'm here in Ireland, in a little place called Ballyneety, and this rock behind me, this is called Sarsfield's Rock, and it's called that for a reason. And this is the story I'm going to tell you about a daring exploit by General Patrick Sarsfield, a general in the Jacobite army in Ireland here in the 17th century, in 1690 in fact. Now, just by way of context, King James II became King of England in 1685, and he was a Catholic king. And the Parliament tolerated him, but it was when his son was born in 1687, and there was going to be a right of succession to another Catholic. They actually turned to his Protestant daughter, Mary, who was married to William of Orange in the Netherlands, to invite him to England to replace James. Now, James, what happened next was James' army, a lot of them deserted him and went to William's side. So he left England and he escaped to France. His best method of getting the throne back, he felt, was to come to Catholic Ireland. So he turns up in Kinsale in the south of Ireland in March 1690 with 1,200 French soldiers. And the Parliament here in Dublin lend their support to him because he's a Catholic king. So William, of course, is going to have none of this. He arrives in the following year, in June 1690, in Carrickfergus, up in the northeast coast of Ireland, heads towards Dublin, the capital city at that time, and James meets him along a river bank, the River Boyne. And the famous Battle of the Boyne in July 1690 took place. And James lost that battle. He left again back to France. The Jacobite, what remained of those Jacobite, his army, moved back down to Limerick and decided that they would defend the Connaught, which was a province in the west of Ireland, bordered by the River Shannon. Now, the River Shannon is the longest river in Ireland, in fact, the longest river in Ireland or Britain. So it was a very good defensive line for them. William followed them. A number of towns surrendered to William as he came to Limerick. He arrived with 30,000 men about 5 miles outside Limerick and camped. And the Jacobites were ready. The French who were there had actually 12,000 French soldiers left the city long before before William arrived, because they felt the city could not be defended. They left and went up to Galway and went back to France. So what was left was Patrick Sarsfield and about 14,000 soldiers left to defend the city. They were mystified why William was hanging back 5 miles away and not coming to lay siege to the city. But the reason was that he hadn't his big guns, his siege guns, and they were coming from Dublin on a huge wagon train. Now, a deserter told Patrick Sarsfield, came into the city, told Patrick Sarsfield about that, and he came up with a daring plan that himself, he would lead 600 men, which he did, leave the city on the 10th of August, 1690, to meet the wagon train and try and destroy it. They left Limerick, moved up on the west side of the River Shannon through County Clare, crossed over to Tipperary, County Tipperary, north of Killaloe, and travelled at night time. That was Sunday night, the 10th of August. That next morning, at dawn, they camped hidden under the hills of the Silvermine Mountains and stayed there near Keeper Hill. The following night, Monday night, they set out again. Luckily, one of his soldiers had been talking to a lady while he was watering his horse, and she told him where the wagon train would likely be, but also told them the password, which was Sarsfield. So they came here, this area here below me, and the wagon train was camped here for the night. Now, to give you an idea of what that train, how big it was 155 wagons. It stretched 2 miles long when it was moving. There were 500 horses, saddled horses included in that as well. Now, this brought huge munitions, big cannon, and so on. It was guarded by 100 men. Patrick Sarsfield, again under the cover of darkness, had with him another well-known personality from the time, a man called Michael Hogan, but Galloping Hogan. He was a rapparee, Rapparee being kind of an outlaw type, ex-soldiers that were hiding out in the hills, and he knew every part of the countryside here, so he was able to guide them the whole way to Ballyneety here. So as he approached, under cover of darkness at night time, their horses' hooves were muffled, so nobody knew how big the platoon was. Came up to the guards. The guards asked, "Who goes there? What's the password?" And Sarsfield said, "Sarsfield's the word, and Sarsfield's the man." And they charged into the camp. There were 100 soldiers. Most of them were asleep. 60 were killed, and the rest scattered. Sarsfield and his men gathered all the cannon together, stuffed the cannons with dynamite, and stuffed the nozzles into the ground, and gathered everything else around it and set fire to it, and moved away, and a massive explosion took place. In fact, back 40 miles away in Limerick City, they could hear the explosion, and the whole night sky lit up. Nearby, a castle, a ruined castle, the walls of it fell completely. Now, William knew something was happening. Somebody, a spy, had told him, had seen the nighttime, the 600 men passing to the countryside, went into William. William sent out a platoon of men, horseback cavalry, and they were too late. They were a mile away when the ground shattered, and they saw the explosion, so they were too late. Sarsfield and his men went back up along the Shannon, crossed again, back down to Limerick, and arrived back in the 14th of August to a hero's welcome. So this thwarted King William's plan to lay siege to the city for the moment. He did get replenished, he did get supplies again, and on the 17th of August, he laid siege to the city, but gave up on the 30th of August. He went back to England and left General Ginkle in charge. That was the siege in 1690. That was the end of that story for that year. I'll be telling you in a future video what happens next. But that was a great event that took place here, below me here, and the wagon train here in Ballyneety, when that massive explosion thwarted the King William and his army's determination to lay siege to Limerick. All thanks to Patrick Sarsfield. That's all for now. More from Mike's Hidden History next time.